Hey, what's up, everybody? BDO44 coming at you with another video. All right, so don't want to do an Apes rant, I guess, because it's a lot going on. First of all, I want to send condolences to the CFO of Bed Bath & Beyond's family, loved ones, people who did business with him, cared about him. He lost his life, man. I'm not sure the details of it, but the reason why it's relevant is because he did pass away after Bed Bath & Beyond stock plummeted after basically semi-squeezing, so to speak, and it was a lot going on with him in a lawsuit that's being alleged against him or filed against him and against Ryan Cohen, to be exact, and I guess he is involved in that. And I guess the idea was that they were going to try to take advantage of the apes available to them to artificially improve the stock price, artificially raise the stock price, and ultimately put themselves in a position to cash out quickly and so on and so forth, which I don't think is too crazy, to be honest with you, because when you have an opportunity like this, you're going to have people who are opportunists, and I think it's probably the wrong way to go in terms of taking this type of approach if that's what was going on. But like, for example, the opportunity that I think Adam Aaron's taking to kind of improve the books of his company while the apes are there providing that base, I think it's the only way to play it. I don't think there's nothing wrong with using this as a means of fixing your books. I think it's the only way to do it. So I'm like I told you guys, the ape shares, the ape equity, how do you pronounce it? The ape preferred stock shares that are being given as dividends, ultimately actual stock splits. I think the whole purpose of that was just to expose that there are synthetic shares in the market. That has taken place. As of right now, Germany and several other European markets have since suspended both Ape and AMC in their respective markets. As of the holiday, they suspended it indefinitely. You cannot buy any AMC or Ape in those particular places. That is something that was followed by the unfortunate passing of this individual. There's a lot of stuff that's happening that's connected to itself. Bed Bath & Beyond is definitely, obviously, as we said, Ryan Cohen, the CFO of GameStop. If I didn't mention that already, that's who Ryan Cohen is. The CFO of Bed Bath & Beyond was the individual who ultimately lost his life. I don't have his name in my head, but for these situations, with the lawsuit being filed, the stock doing what it did, his passing, the Germany situation or what's going on in Europe, all of these things are happening at once. All of it. And you just understand beyond the shadow of a doubt that those are signs that this is happening. Now, I don't know how close the happening actually is, but the fallout and the things that we said we thought we would start to see once this began, that has started now. Those things are happening now. It's not a wait anymore for that. Those things happen. The apes have done their damage. We've done it. We have proven beyond the shadow of a doubt that there are questions that need to be asked, and that the people who need to ask those questions now have the leverage to ask those questions. They don't look crazy for asking those questions because we have proof. Proof is what we have here. Because of the stock split of GME and the preferred ape shares, we can officially, with beyond the shadow of a doubt, look and say there is not enough ape shares being divvied out for the AMC shares that are available worldwide. Now, everybody in America and in our markets were able to both buy and sell Ape, and from what I understand, are still able to buy and sell Ape. Of course, today's Monday, the holiday. Nothing right now, but as of tomorrow, we should be able to do that here. But in those places, they're still waiting to receive what they're owed. So how is it that we're able to trade back and forth something that they have yet to receive? That in and of itself tells us that the floor of what it is that we own is unstable. Remember we talked about that in our last Apes rant? How the crypto market taught us that crypto giveaways affect the stock price directly. Like if they have a little crypto giveaway where they give each new person 5 free whatever crypto, that particular crypto is going to be affected. That price during the time they're giving it away is going to go up. Why? Because no one's buying it. It's being given to them. So that automatically just makes it so that you clearly see the price go up. Once it gets sold, complete opposite. Rug pull. Whew. And then correction, back to normal. Well, that is the exact same thing we're looking at here. It's the exact same thing we have here. The pressure that I'm expecting to see from this thing has always been what a person would consider unrealistic. Simply put, what I'm expecting should be laughable to you in terms of the ridiculousness of the numbers that these shares could be worth per share. The time that this has taken, the prices that these things have been at, the fact that the stock splits took place, which allowed people to load up on shares that were fractions of what it was ever worth at any given point since we've been purchasing, with the exception of AMC, who has seen $5 a share, but we hadn't seen it as low as $8.30 since back then. And now because of the Ape preferred shares, those prices are available. So we're taking on cheaper shares by default in both of those circumstances. Mind you, this is a year after the Apes settled into the situation. So we had been purchasing and buying and keeping and holding and purchasing and buying and keeping and holding continuously until that point where we ended up doubling up based on what we were already doing and how it was half the price of that. When they give away Ape and then you have people shorting it, and then you have FTDs, failure to deliver, out overseas. Of course, Ape itself, the Ape shares are going to decrease in value in the short term. It went from $10 all the way down to $4.30 in a matter of 2 weeks. Because of that dynamic. Simply because of that dynamic. Because you have it going in too many different places without it actually settling in anywhere it's supposed to be. Many people haven't even received it yet, and you got people like myself who have since sold R8. And I did sell mine. I told you guys why I sold mine. I respect what it is. I understand what it is. I think enough homework to feel confident that I know what it is that I sold. It's a piggy bank. From what I understand, it's a piggy bank. It's a stock that can be used to parlay itself into other things. For example, if they buy, let's say if AMC decides to purchase the rest of Highcroft Mining, they can turn Ape into AMCH, AMC Highcroft if they want to. For example, of course, they can do that. Or if AMC wants to buy my brand, for example, if they want to buy BDF, they can turn APE into BDF as an acquisition, and then from there make it public immediately. So that's what that allows them to do. But until then, until they make something, it's just a piggy bank. It's something that we invest in that they can use when they need it. It's not an actual investment. You're not investing in a company. You're not putting your money in something that you expect to grow. You're putting your money in a company's piggy bank with the intention of them taking it out of that piggy bank at some point and using it to purchase BDF or whatever company. That is not something that you want to independently invest in at all. You want to independently invest in the company it's attached to, not the piggy bank itself. You don't invest in a piggy bank. A piggy bank is meant to be busted open and the contents in it comes out. What they plan on doing is that very thing. So what happens to the shares that you own, that you purchase at $7, $8, $9 when it happens? It goes down to whatever it's going to go down to when they take the money out of it. $0, 50 cents, whatever it's going to be. Purposefully, intentionally, they're thinking of doing this now. That's the plan. So if I know that's the plan, why the hell am I putting any money in that? I'm not. They did. They put my money in it by default because they split everything in half. Why did they do that? They're just trying to expose the hedgies. Literally, that's it. They're not trying to do anything else. They're not trying to purchase any companies to turn this thing into a stock. They're not trying to do that. We know they're not trying to do that because we want them to do this. So it's one of them situations where it's like, do I pretend I don't know what's going on? Because I do. He's doing this to expose them. The guise of it is that of we want to purchase the company someday. And maybe we will. In fact, more than likely we will. But that's not why we did this. We did this because we want to prove everybody that there's more shares out there than what's actually being represented. And so, by default, this needed to happen. Now, in understanding that, how do I play it as an ape? Well, obviously I don't hold on to my ape shares. Obviously, I do not. See, this is the problem that I've run into listening to other apes, and they're holding their ape shares, but they also understand why that was done. Now, the confusing part, maybe where I'm ignorant, is why are they agreeing to this in terms of holding these ape shares instead of doubling up on the AMC like I did? I don't see no downside in doubling up on the actual ticker symbol. I don't see no downside to that. If I sell my ape, I'm not selling out of AMC. If anything, I'm selling more so into AMC. I'm buying more into AMC. That's all I did. I took every single coin of ape and put it back directly into the company. So for those who are saying you're a paper hand, well, yeah, you can definitely call me a paper hand since I've had to sell a lot of shares over the years. I'm not gonna lie, but I've bought all those shares back and then some. But that's not the point. I've been that guy. So yeah, I'm paper hand number one. But my shares are always intact, and my original shares were never touched. It's just synthetics that I've been having to move around because I am not a rich person, and all of my money is in that place. So by default, I had to be a paper hand. I'll be that. I don't care. I know what type of ape I am. But the point is, at all times there's money in AMC, and because of it, I don't feel like I've done anything wrong when they have split my money in half, which they actually didn't do. They extracted some of it based on when I sold it, which is something I'm not happy about, by the way. That's on me, though. Nobody told me to sell it at $6, especially when I could have sold it at $10. But I needed a day to think about it, and that day took me down to $6 from $10 to $6. So whatever, I don't regret that at all. But what the moral of the story is, they, with my permission, split this thing in half. Gave me half my ape, half my AMC, just like they were supposed to do. Even though if I were in Germany, I would not have gotten that. I'd still be out of half of my money. But because that didn't happen to me, and I was fortunate enough to be one of those people in America who actually had ape shares, I'm not going to hold on to the ape shares that I know everybody can't get. I'm going to load up on things that I know everyone can get it, because that's what ultimately is what I'm here for. Now, do I think ape will squeeze? Of course. For those who are wondering if I think ape preferred shares will squeeze, the answer is yes. Yes. Because it's attached to the company it's going to squeeze. So by default, it's going to squeeze. Here's the problem. Yes. Does everybody own ape in theory? Of course, everybody owns ape in theory because everybody who owns AMC owns ape, except for one thing. Me. People like me who didn't keep ape. Give ape no floor. That's what I'm telling you. Ape has no floor. At least AMC, you know, when it starts spinning, ping pong all over to the world, when it goes to the moon, this is what you will understand. People have been loading up on ticker symbol AMC the whole time. So even when it starts doing all this, it's still going to be a lot of apes who have a lot of shares. Because a lot of us have been accumulating shares for so long to where we don't need to sell our entire position to take care of our entire lives when this thing takes off. In fact, we don't even have to sell the most of them. We can sell a few shares and take care of our entire lives, and the rest of that stuff can sit there until we are certain there's no further up to go. And that's what the hedgies are going to run into. We're not leaving. Ever. Some of us are still going to be here when that thing goes up and all the way down, and we'll still be paid because we're going to have so many shares left over afterwards. Greed will take over for a lot of us. I'm sure most of us will sell all of our positions. But real apes like myself got shares in places we don't even remember. Like literally, I've purchased shares in
platforms here and there. I don't even think I'll be able to sell all of them. That's how serious this is. So when you talk about apes like myself, yeah, no, I mean, there's always going to be a share available to us at the top because we're not getting rid of everything ever, especially now that you've literally done the stock split, as to which minds like myself have doubled our position. So, yeah, for those who are waiting for Ape to squeeze, I do think you're going to make a ton of money off Ape. But I think when Ape falls, there's no floor. No floor. Why? Because they can saturate it with more Ape at any time. That's what they can do with it. Like Terra Luna, it can be flushed to nothingness or fractions of something due to the fact that they can give you 8 billion of them and there's only 500, whatever, 500 million in rotation right now or something like that. It's like 500 million in rotation right now. They still got 7.5 billion to dump on our heads. With AMC, that is not the case. With AMC, it's infinite, literally infinite, because they've been using the synthetic method for the last year and a half nonstop. So, although in theory you would say, well, Brandon, that doesn't have any floor at all. It does, because there is so many people who have since purchased infinite, it seems, amounts of AMC. So as I said, even as they do sell, there's still going to be a ton of people with a ton of shares that are still holding, waiting for the top, waiting to be certain of the top. And then there are some people who will still have shares after that, just in case there's another swing upwards. This is what I'm talking about. That stock split put us in a position to where a lot of us can be so good and still have so many. And that was not the case before the stock split. I'm not going to lie. I was very happy with my position, but this changes everything. Once they gave me the ability to keep the bulk number of my shares and still have half of my money, oh, no. No, they messed up. They messed up. So, I think that kind of goes without saying, but I don't think every ape really understands that. And I do believe it benefits the company if every ape holds their ape shares. It just don't benefit the ape. Because when that thing goes up, you're going to have an unstable circumstance based on no one having any devotion to ape preferred shares. The devotion is hypothetical in nature. It's maybe, maybe people believe so much, but I don't think people do. I don't think they do, because once they learn what I learned, common sense is gonna tell them to just double up on their shares at AMC or to take their money and go somewhere else with it. You know what I mean? Like literally. So that's common sense to me. And I understand everybody's like, well, if everybody sells their ape shares, the company's gonna tank. No, it's not. No, it's not. Not if everybody's buying AMC. No, it's not. The money goes right back in the company. That's what it's supposed to do anyway. We know the presence of this means that it's actually going into the broker's hands, which creates more synthetics. But either way, trickles right back down because that squeeze is going to take place just the same. And every one of these fake synthetic shares is going to have to be accounted for, as we know. So it ain't going to be no situation where we're sitting here saying, oh man, everything went to hell, the squeeze took place. But nope. When the squeeze take place, ain't none of that going to matter. All you're going to care about is how many shares you have. That's it. That's all you're going to care about. Because the more shares you have, the more shares you'll have to let ride after you've taken care of yourself. And that's the point. That's the point. So I don't know about all this talk about holding AMC. No, I'm not doing that. No. If it's all the same, I'll take AMC. Thank you very much. You know what I mean? Because the hedgies took the bait in regards to Ape. That's something else I want to say. There should have never been an options availability for them to use Ape. Ape is not an investment tool. It's supposed to be a semi-quasi dividend, right? That's literally meant to expose them. The part that I don't understand is why they didn't understand this. That's why I go back to the old, very old, not hypothetical, but the scenario that was brought to us where all of this is actually a machine in the background out of control. That makes more sense to me as this continues to play out. That theory makes way more sense to me than some bullheaded billionaires who don't know when to quit. That don't make no sense to me. You don't get rich by being stupid. And what they've been doing for the last year and a half is stupid. But if it's electronical and it's out of control, or if it's being managed a certain way, That's a whole nother story, and it would explain a lot. But I'm telling you, man, it is. I've been sitting here thinking about this for a long time. Obviously, being a part of this for a year and a half, I've done a lot of personal meditating, prayer, and all that good stuff, spiritual stuff for my own self. And what I keep coming back to is my own personal desire to not see harm necessarily done. I didn't hold my shares because I want people to suffer. Okay? I did not want to coerce the suffering of anyone, whether it be people who are on my level or people who are on Wall Street's level. I'm not interested in bringing about stress or death to anyone. I really don't. So when I heard about the passing of the Bed Bath & Beyond guy, I really did say a prayer for him and his family. And I don't speak for no other soul, no other person. But a part of me wonders if me holding those shares had some direct line to that taking place. I can't help but wonder. Now, that doesn't mean that I would do anything different, because I would not. But that doesn't mean that it doesn't bother me some, knowing that some of the collateral damage that this fight between the Hedgies and the Apes has caused will have more incidences such as these. It will. There's a lot of people who are going to see no hope when this takes place. People who are not used to not having hope. Do you understand what I'm saying? We, on this level, and I say this with respect and love in my heart, we're used to certain types of devastation. We are. We're not wealthy. We come from humble beginnings. We're used to being laid off. We're used to people, not being in the position to take care of all of the people we love. We're used to being in a helpless position, have to answer to someone else, be humble in the presence of others, having to swallow your ego in certain situations, having to just admit that I can't control this. We deal with that all the time. People on that level, not very much. Not very much. They don't have those circumstances. It's too much riding on them. When it all goes to crap, a lot of times they see themselves falling so far that it's not real, because they're up so high. To the fall is unfathomable for someone who's on this level. We can't fall from this level and land so far below this that we can relate to that. Because even if we go completely to the dumps, if we go completely out, if we lose everything, it's not the same as having everything and losing all of it. Do you understand? When you don't have much, you lose much, it hurts a lot. But when you have everything and it's all lined up and you've had so much success and it's all a certain way, and then boom, a couple things go wrong, maybe you make a bad decision here, maybe some people do some things behind your back you didn't know about, now you have to either try to cover it up or keep it going. Sometimes people at those levels, they can't handle that. They cannot take the stress that the choices they make or that the people make around them make. They can't handle those decisions and they just don't survive. Or it gets treacherous. Or you try to do the right thing. Or you say, you know what, I'm going to be the good guy here. And then something terrible just happens to happen to you. I don't know what happened to that man, but I can tell you this. That whole talk about artificial stock price rising, that in the presence of this ape Hedgie battle looks like a lie. I'm just going to say it. Say it just like that. It looks like a lie. Because while I said at the beginning of the video, I can totally see where someone would try to create an opportunity for themselves, maybe by doing a little too much they shouldn't do. Maybe, trying to cover up a couple holes that maybe weren't necessarily legal to cover up. Once you start finding yourself in those arenas and then things start coming to light, you start seeing the type of jail time you can get, the type of fines that come your way, the type of consequences that come from losing your position in life. Maybe you're worried about the personal aspects of that and how that could trickle down to you. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's just one of those situations where because you don't know, and because of all this being present, you just wonder what happened to the man rather than being certain of what happened to him. So that's really where I come from in regards to that. I have more to wonder than anything else, because when you tell me he was trying to artificially raise his stock price, and then I also know that the hedgies have shorted his company to hell, and his company is one of the companies that fluctuates in price and should squeeze. And because of it, it should be an understanding that the price could fluctuate in this type of degree just by default. So one could say he was bullcrapping around with the price, but one could also say this was a product of just a little bit of covering. And if I'm to assume it was just a little bit of covering shares that have been shorted, small hedgies trying to just take care of Bed Bath & Beyond because they have the money to do so, then why are they telling me this man jumped out the window because of a Ponzi scheme to increase the price on the stock? If I know that also the hedgies are going to do that as well to his stock. You know what I'm saying? I said the same thing about Ryan Cohen. It's like, yeah, you could hit him with the lawsuit and say he's trying to pump and dump, but we do know why his price went up. It's because of us. It's not because of a pump and dump scheme that he was trying to concoct or the stock split or anything other conversation. No. GME went to 400 because a bunch of people bought that stuff and a bunch of other people shorted that stuff, just like AMC, just like everything else. So that narrative, though I think could be true, also could not be true. It looks the same to me. Both scenarios look exactly the same on the surface. So I don't know what to believe there. I don't. But I can tell you this, holding my shares at AMC, and I'm praying for the family of the man that lost his life. I don't take that lightly. I got a Bed Bath & Beyond candle in there right now. I think it's fantastic. And it's worth saying. A lot of people have said, oh, Bed Bath & Beyond is struggling or whatever they're saying. I don't know enough. But what I can say is when I worked at the Santa Monica Promenade area, when I was working at that place, Bed Bath & Beyond was the number one store that got the most traffic during the pandemic while I was there. The number one store. Bigger than Macy's, bigger than any other stores, bigger than the restaurants. When everything was shut down, people were still buying those candles. And they were wrapped around the block all the way down almost to the garage area in the parking lot to where Bed Bath & Beyond was at. And they did this often because Bed Bath & Beyond had a candle sale every 10 days. Like literally every 10 days, it was a line around the block while everybody was stuck in the house. So if Bed Bath & Beyond is doing poorly, in comparison to what is what I would ask, because they were doing better than anybody in the pandemic where I was at. So yeah, that is something I wanted to say. So yeah, man, that's where we're at. I don't know if I have a whole lot more to share, man. I do think that we're seeing signs that this could be the end of this process very soon. Well, not very soon, but we're entering the end of the process. And we started seeing signs of that maybe about a month and a half ago, 2 months ago. Once people start talking about win pounds and stock splits and dividends, that's when I knew, all right. Adam Aaron, Ryan Cohen, and all these guys have done all they needed to do to feel good about their companies. Now it's time to get the people that's been attacking them. That happens. Ryan Cohen does his stock split. You got this situation going on with Adam Aaron, his stock split. You got Tesla teasing people about whether or not he's going to purchase Twitter with his $44 billion, maybe in, maybe out. That right there looks kind of funny to me in regards to him being shorted as well and him having issues with the hedgies as well. And I know he wouldn't have any qualms with the apes winning this war at all. In fact, I believe he's probably an ape himself. I really believe that. He probably has a billion shares. So that's just my speculation. I actually think it's a lot of celebrities that have shares at AMC and in GME. I think a lot of them do, y'all. I think we're going to be supremely surprised at who gets wealthy and who loses money in this situation, because this has been something that's been gaining traction for a long time. by word of mouth. But the media is not going to promote the opportunity that's ahead for common people to buy AMC shares. They're not going to tell you, hey, all you need is one $9 share to possibly put your kid through college within the next couple of whatever, how long this takes. Buy $9 worth of AMC tomorrow and just keep it in your portfolio. And when this does what it's supposed to do, it'll be worth more than anything else in your portfolio. And that is what I believe. That's what I believe. And everything that we predicted would happen in the event that were to occur is happening. That's what I'm saying. All that other stuff we predicted that comes with the squeeze, it's going down, baby. That's now. So, yeah, I'm encouraging everybody to not take financial advice from people on YouTube. Do not. But also don't be confused about whether or not I believe what I'm saying is true. That's what I can tell you. Take that for what it's worth. So that's really what it is, man. Again, prayers out. And I want you guys to know something else. I'm going to say this right here on this camera. I started praying for Ken Griffin. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. For the same reason. For the same reason I said. I started praying for Ken Griffin just like I pray for everybody else that I pray for. You guys, I don't know if you follow any of my other aspects of this channel, but I have a prayer list that I've been kind of, praying for different people, and it's kind of helped me gain some confidence, some strength, and some happiness, and all that inner peace stuff that people were looking for. I found a lot of that over the last 2 years doing this. And I added Ken Griffin to this equation, him and his family, and whatever is important to the man. And the reason why I did that is because he's the number one antagonist in this situation, and I never trust that. Never. You're trying to tell me one man behind all this? Hell no. It's Fall Guy. That doesn't mean he's not the main head. It just means that when it's time for the sword to fall on somebody's chest, he's the chest that's designated for the sword. And I just am not buying. I'm not buying. See, it's not about my well wishes necessarily for the man, Ken Griffin. No, it's about me in my spiritual space praying for no possibilities of escape for any of the players at hand. They don't get to funnel all of this into one person, fry him, and then that's it. Nah, I'm playing for the betterment of Ken Griffin so that when they try that, it don't work. That's my hope. Now, you may not believe in prayer. Maybe that stuff don't work to you, whatever. I believe in it, and I've seen it work. That's my intention. Whatever they're going to try to do to make it look as if Ken Griffin is the only guy behind all of this, I'm not with it. I'm not with it to my core. I'm not with that. It doesn't mean that I don't think Ken Griffin should answer for whatever he may or may not have done in his world and his life, but that does not mean that he gets to take the responsibility for the entire squeeze. Nope. Not this brain. I think independently, and I'm not letting anybody coerce me into thinking this is a one-man job. No. There are many entities involved in this overall situation, and all of them, I believe, need to be given the same attention that gentleman does in this situation. He's the most famous one. He's the one that's going to get all the hate. He's the one that people are probably going to want to see in person or whatever. Hopefully they leave him alone. But this ain't just him. This ain't just him. This ain't just him. And a lot of people are going to tell you it's just him. It's some of them, in my opinion. This is a situation that is much bigger than just one guy. So, whatever plans are in place to make him pay for everything that all of these guys have done, yeah, I'm praying against it. So, take it for what it's worth. Anyway, that's pretty much what I got, man. That's all I got, man. I don't want to see nobody get harmed. I'm trying to see people get to a space where they have financial freedom. If not freedom, then a financial foundation. And once that foundation is in place, then people can work the jobs they want to work, do what it is that their DNA would naturally entail, have jobs that are organic for them instead of stuff that they just have to do, that they don't want to do, that they provide bad service for because of it. These are the type of things that ultimately just make our world better when people don't have to worry about a dollar. Everybody has some financial base. Everybody has an investment, a situation that is stable, something that they know is going to increase in values. Maybe there's something like that for everybody so that they don't have to work 12 hours a day. then I'll have to work 7 days a week in certain situations. I hear about people, man, they worked 40 years at Ford, 30 years at Chrysler, like, just to get laid off one Sunday and never to be seen again. Like, I don't want my kids, my grandkids, your grandkids to have a fate like that, y'all. I don't. I want that to be the past. I want that to be our grandparents, our kids, our parents, and us. That's it. No more of this. I'm 40 years at the same job and I only made this amount, and now I retire and I only live 2 years after that. F that. No more of that. One of the reasons why I feel like my life has been worth living lately is because I found an opportunity to get into a space by myself and discover what it is I love to do. I had the time to do it. I reserved the time to do it, and I found something within myself that I love, art. I would have never found that if I would have stayed on the path of churning like everybody's forced to. I quit that job. I stepped away from all those responsibilities, and I found myself. And I think that every human being deserves an opportunity at that. And I don't think we do, because of the presence of this dynamic with our financial market robbing us of our time and our ability to ultimately spend our time the way that we ultimately would otherwise. We're forced to work. We're forced to answer to. We're forced to reserve time. We're forced to work hard in areas that don't make us better. Just to feed our families? There's enough food to go around, is it not? I don't think that should be the only way to get a meal anymore. So that's what I'm hopeful will take place because of the squeeze. Not necessarily the fall of King Griffin, but the rise of poverty, the rise out of poverty. And I know that that's a biblical thing. It's not real. No one's going to end all of poverty. Poverty is always going to exist as long as mental illness and a lack of desire is in place. But for a lack of resources, that should be no more, especially since we know that the financial market is in fact manipulated completely. Yes, all of this trickles down, or rather doesn't, because of it. So that's why I hold. Not because I want to see people leap to their death or be pushed out of buildings, but because I want to see people have an opportunity to own buildings that don't even have a place to stay right now. My name is BDF44. I thank you all for watching. I'm out.